Oh, hello there. I'm Bill Chan.
I'm Nimakong.
I'm Ban Chan.
In this class, I'll read to all of you. Chapter 3, Section 3 of A Tale of Two Cities, Book the Second Golden Thread.
S.
Ah.
A Tale of Two Cities, Book the Second Golden Thread. Charles Dickens. Chapter 3, Section 3. And I did not hear what they said. Anne. To the prisoner's conversation. Situation is he was kind and good and useful to my father. I hope bursting into cheers. Buzzing from the blue flies. Miss Manette. Your duty to give which you must give and which you cannot escape from giving with great unwillingness. He is the only person present in that condition. He told me that he was travelling on business of a delicate and difficult nature, which might get people into trouble, and that he was therefore travelling under an assumed name. He said that this business had, within a few days, taken into France, and might, at intervals. Did you say anything about America? Miss Minette? He tried to explain to me how that quarrel had arisen, and he said that, so far as he could judge, it was a wrong and foolish one on England's part. He added, in a jesting way, the third, but there was no harm in his way of saying this. It was said laughingly. Scene of great interest to whom many eyes are directed will be unconsciously imitated by the spectators. Her forehead was painfully anxious and intent as she gave this evidence. And then, in the pauses when she stopped for the judge to write it down, watched its effect upon the counsel for and against. Among the lookers on there was the same expression in all quarters of the court, insomuch that a great majority of the foreheads there might have been mirrors reflecting the witness. George Washington, Mr. Attorney General, now signified to my Lord that he deemed it necessary, as a matter of precaution and form, to call the young lady's father, Dr. Minette. He was called accordingly. Dr. Minette looked upon the prisoner once, when he called at my lodgings in London, some 3 years. Can you identify him as your fellow passenger on board the packet? Though, he answered, in a low voice, has it been your misfortune to undergo a long imprisonment, without trial, or even accusation, in your native country? He answered, in a tone that went to every heart, "Hon, my mind is a blank. From some time he cannot even say what time I employed myself, in my captivity, in making shoes, to the time when I found myself living in London with my dear daughter here. She had become familiar to me, when a gracious God restored my faculties. But I am quite unable even to say how she had become familiar." Mr. Attorney General sat down, and the father and daughter sat down together. A singular circumstance then arose in the case. Their object in hand being to show that the prisoner went down, with some fellow potter in tract. In the Dover Mill on that Friday night in November 5 years ago, and got out of the mill in the night, as a blind, at a place where he did not remain, but from which he travelled back some dozen miles or more, to a garrison and dockyard, and there collected information. A witness was called to identify him as having been at the precise time required in the coffee room of an hotel in that garrison and dockyard town, waiting for another person. The prisoner's counsel was cross-examining this witness with no result, except that he had never seen the prisoner on any other occasion. The court wrote a word or two on a little piece of paper, screwed it up, and tossed it to him, opening this piece of paper in the next pause. The counsel looked with great attention and curiosity at the prisoner. The witness was quite sure. Not so like the witness said as that he could be mistaken. Look well upon that gentleman, my learned friend there, pointing to him who had tossed the paper over. And then look well upon the prisoner. How say you? Allowing for my learned friend's appearance being careless and slovenly if not debauched, they were sufficiently like each other to surprise not only the witness, but everybody present, when they were thus brought into comparison. My lord being prayed to bid my learned friend lay aside his wig, and giving no very gracious consent, the likeness became much more remarkable. My lord inquired of Mr. Stryver, the prisoner's counsel, with it they were next to try Mr. Carton, name of my learned friend, for treason. But Mr. Stryver replied to my lord, no, but he would ask the witness to tell him whether what happened once might happen twice, rashness sooner, whether he would be so confident, having seen it, and more, the upshot of which would to smash this witness like a crockery vessel, and shiver his part of the case to use the slumber. Mr. His following of the evidence. He had now to attend while Mr. Stryver fitted the prisoner's case on the jury, like a compact suit of clothes, showing them how the patriot, or that, was the hired spy and traitor, an unblushing trafficker in blood, or the like, how the virtuous servant, they, was his friend and partner, and was worthy to be, as a victim, because some family affairs in France, he being of French extraction, did require his making those passages across the channel for what those affairs were, a consideration for others who were near and dear to him, forbade him, even for his life, to disclose how the evidence that had been warped and wrested from the young lady, whose anguish in giving it they had witnessed, came to nothing, and young lady so thrown together with the exception of that reference to George Washington, as a monstrous joke, to practice for popularity on the lowest national antipathies and fears. And therefore Mr. Attorney General had made the most of it. Oh, nevertheless, it rested upon nothing, save that vile and infamous corrective evidence too often disfiguring such cases, and of which the state trials of this country were full. But, true, saying that he could not sit upon that bench and suffer those illusions, Mr. taxi driver then called his few witnesses and missed two. To be continued.